It's clear that the pandemic and the public health measures taken in response to it more deeply affect women, gender minorities, youth, people with disabilities, and BIPOC people than other groups. What are the best ways to ensure a just and equitable recovery for everyone, regardless of gender, age, ability, and race?
That's a good question. It's been a tough time. I do think that the pandemic has really heightened a lot of that. We've noticed it specifically. I have buddies who are in retail, so I've noticed that the retail sector has been hit. Tourism has been hit hard. A lot of times these groups that you mentioned, they are working in these types of jobs, and so it's tough. I do think one of the biggest things that has to be done is what I found in this campaign is listening to people. I don't have all the answers. I don't proclaim to have all the answers, and the best way that I try to get to the answers is to listen to people, listen to their ideas, and maybe listen to the experts. So I think the biggest thing would be to do is to have as big lens as possible, listen to these groups that are being affected, especially in these industries, hear what they have to say, and then try to press government to make sure that their interests are being looked out for.
Okay, thanks. The second question is from the PEI Working Group for a Livable Income. It is clear that the pandemic and the public health measures taken in response to it more deeply affect women, gender minorities, youth, people with disabilities, and BIPOC people than other groups. What are the best ways to ensure a just and equitable recovery for everyone, regardless of gender, age, ability, and race?
I think one of the big things is to make sure the daycares are working again. And the story yesterday where a daycare in Ontario was shut down by the federal government because they raised the rent to $40,000. And this is a government typical of Liberals, that they would say they're going to help daycare for 17 years or however long and do nothing. And this is pretty much what you're going to see from Conservatives and Liberals. So I know the NDP is very committed to daycare. We absolutely have to get mostly the women back into the work field, but also we have to make sure that the caregivers are given a decent wage. Much of this is done by the women, and they are given no benefits, they're in danger pay. It's very precarious. We would insist that people immediately get $15 an hour and work our way up to a livable income. But I am adamant that basic income guarantee is the answer to absolutely everything that well, not everything, but to the pandemic, to the financial crisis, and to the people who need help the most.
So the second question is from the PEI Working Group for a Livable Income. It's clear that the pandemic and the public health measures taken in response to it more deeply affect women, gender minorities, youth, people with disabilities, and BIPOC people than other groups. What are the best ways to ensure a just and equitable recovery for everyone, regardless of gender, age, ability, and race?
Yeah, right off the bat, I'm very aware of my place in society. I'm privileged, I'm a straight white male, and what I've learned from these groups is immense. Right off the bat, these inequities have existed long before the pandemic. The pandemic has shined a light on just how inequitable some of our situations are. So we need to really focus on how we change our society to be more equitable. It needs to be a just recovery. And I think by using perspectives and hopefully engaging and encouraging people of minorities and people who are impoverished and just anyone from impacted demos to actually have a chance to bring their voice to the House and to government.